Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO, quicker than Valve can bait us with more Source 2 updates. Quick reminder to rate and reviews by the end of the episode. It really helps us. I'm Logan. This is Aizyesque. Let's get into it. Before we start, I know we said we weren't going to talk about Source 2, but I need to talk about the absolute trolls that Valve are. Because every fucking human in Counter-Strike was watching Twitter last night, and an update came out, and it was Korean localizations. And I hope that every single person at Valve HQ was watching Twitter and understood the amount of trolling that they just did, either accidentally or not accidentally. I don't really care if it was on purpose or not, but
it is incredible, isn't it? Like, they haven't said anything, and everyone's got themselves into a frenzy about something that a lot of people almost certainly don't. I don't understand what Source 2 actually means for the game, and to be honest, I don't really care. I'll find out when it drops.
When it happens.
Okay, I don't understand why everyone is so whipped into a frenzy.
You know, us saying this now, Source 2 is just gonna come out later tonight.
Probably.
And just, it'll just be funny. We had a good show for you today. We had a couple of short stories we want to talk about. It's been a rather light week, so we'll be a little short and quick here, but we'll see what goes on. The thing we're going to start with, Taco, a former two-time major winner on SK and IBR. No.
SKLG.
SK and LG, thank you. Current IGL for 00 Nation will not be continuing with the team for right now. ...
He's not playing at the major, which is quite important.
He said that he was sitting out from Pro League. If 00 Nation qualify for the major, he won't be playing in the major. Basically, he's taking a long break. He put out a tweet longer, whatever the hell they're called at this point.
Twitlonger, yeah. He basically said that he was... It seemed to imply a level of exhaustion of the game and burnout, because he was basically saying, he's not watched every 00 Nation game. He's caught it, when he sort of felt like it, but he's trying to sort of take a break from the game as a whole, which is fair enough.
Yep, and you know what? The guy's been playing, theoretically top-tier Counter-Strike for, 7 years, and break every once in a while is not a bad thing.
No.
Even though... personally, I'd consider the entire time of MIBR as a break, but
they certainly had a break every time there was playoffs.
Yeah. But 6-1 there. So, good for him to get a break. Hope he comes back.
I'd like to see him come back, but who knows?
Yeah, he said...
They seem to be doing okay without him, so...
Yeah, his statement on the future was, it is uncertain even to myself.
Yeah, it says a lot, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, regardless, absolute legend, especially in Brazil. I'd say in America as well for this time on Liquid.
Okay.
But he will go down as a very good player, a great in the game anyway. Regardless of if he decides to stop.
He's won 2 majors, for fuck's sake. You can never take that away from him.
Yeah. Even though
he could retire now and I've won 2 majors. What else do I need to do?
Yeah. The other story that we really wanted to talk about here is Farlig replacing Regali in Copenhagen Flames. So this completes the Farlig Copenhagen Flames Astralis circle.
This one's really odd because everyone kind of assumes Regali's being Copenhagen Flames' best player. Pretty much anyone I've spoken to has said he's been their best player. So everyone kind of assumed he was benched because teams wanted him. But then the Copenhagen Flames owner just kept going out and going, no, it's more than just stats. He actually isn't that good.
Yeah, they said,
okay. Why would you say this if you want to sell him? It doesn't make sense.
The quote was, "It should be obvious to all that Regali possesses some unique qualities as far as his raw skill mechanical abilities are concerned. He already belongs to the absolute world elite. At the same time, we also have to recognize that in some ways the fit isn't perfect for how we want to play in the direction of the team."
Surely you just want to big him up and say, he's wanted by bigger teams because you want to get as much money for him as possible. Don't talk him down.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
To be fair, Farlig has come back to Copenhagen Flames, and it looks like he never left Copenhagen Flames. He did very well in their victory against Aurora, in their loss against Aurora, not victory.
Yeah, that sounds more likely.
Yeah, in some Tier 7 event in Europe.
Aurora are pretty good, to be fair.
Well, it's a Tier 7 event in Europe, also known as a Tier 1 event in North America. I'm feeling anti-North America today. I don't know why. Either way, it kind of just feels roundabout for Farlig's back. I don't have much more of that. Like
Farlig is a gifted player, and I don't think his time on Astralis is representative of what he can do. But at the same time, I think it is also representative of the flaws he does have in his game. But he is better than what he showed what he showed on Astralis. I can tell you that much.
I truly think that Copenhagen Flames is probably a very, very good place for Farlig. They've shown, at least with their previous coaching staff, obviously that coaching staff is now in North America Hellhole, but with their previous coaching staff, they had shown that they were able to take players and make them better.
Yeah, they've also shown they know how to get the best out of Farlig already.
Yeah, so probably just honestly, Farlig probably coming back is a really good step for them, just on bring someone back that maintains some brand value and someone that both the player and the management side both know, brings an offer into the team. All good on that front. Odd for the Regali thing. We'll keep you up to news date on that.
Yeah, I've got no idea where he could go either. Like, it's very strange.
I saw a joke that said something along the lines of like back to Astralis. What was
he came from Fnatic,
Fnatic Academy, back to Fnatic. Which I would think would be humorous, but like I don't realistically see it happening.
It doesn't seem like a big enough upgrade from Nikodos to be worthwhile to me, but who knows?
Yeah. And we'd already seen him on Fnatic before.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I don't know if they want to go back into that again.
Yeah, there's a reason they got rid of him, right?
Yep.
Because they didn't think he was good enough. And similarly, Copenhagen Flames also thought there was an issue with him. So maybe there's something behind the scenes that we just don't really know or understand.
Go. All right, let's talk about Group C.
This fucking group was a clusterfuck.
So we came into last week, and I was pretty certain that there were 4 teams that would make it through and 4 teams that wouldn't make it through. 4 teams that I was certain would make it through would be FaZe, NIP, OG, and Vitality in no order of confidence level.
Yeah, and I sort of showed a little bit of, are you sure about NIP and OG? But I didn't commit to it, and I really wish I had.
Yeah, because NIP and OG didn't make it, which, okay.
I thought NIP would make it purely because 00 Nation were also playing with a stand-in. Yeah. There were 2 Oceania teams, and Pain just seemed to flop against better opposition. But as it turns out, Pain didn't play anyone good and still qualified. So
yeah,
it didn't really matter.
Let's go through what happened. In the upper bracket, everything went as about you'd expect. It was a FaZe Vitality final. Vitality took the win. Jax looks like an absolute legend right now.
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of honeymoon period. I feel like
it looks like they gave him good roles and he plays well.
Well, they used him as a real entry, which I think Vitality was sort of struggling with. Like, Dupree nowadays just doesn't want to be a hard entry in the same way for whatever reason, and Jax has no ego, which I think is quite important. But
funny that a French person doesn't have ego.
Yeah, you're right. But also, what was I saying? Like yeah, Vitality look better so far, but they played Greyhound, who they'd have beaten anyway, OG, who they'd have beaten anyway, and FaZe in 3 maps where, it's probably
2 maps.
Is it 2 maps? I thought it was 2-1. Oh yeah, no, okay, we'll get into that in a second. They beat FaZe 2-0. Could have gone either way. I mean, both went to overtime, and like FaZe have been dodgy recently as well, so it's not completely out of the realms of possibility. Like, there's probably one game there where you've gone, okay, I'm actually impressed by Vitality, and even then they were 14-1 down in the first map.
FaZe and Vitality really, really felt like a winner by default.
Yeah,
no matter who won, it just kind of felt like, yeah, It's like when sometimes last year when we saw Navi was in a group and we were just like, okay, Navi's first, we'll figure out everything after that. Just the
Yeah,
default first place.
but it also felt like a show match for Anubis. I know we've already had show match for Anubis; it's already been there, but like you got to see everything good and bad about Anubis in that map. Like both teams won 14 T-side rounds. That is not good for Counter-Strike.
No. All right, let's talk about the lower bracket. So this is the more interesting bit. So we already told you that FaZe and Vitality went through, which means that somewhere there, OG and NIP had to lose. They both lost in the upper semis. Brings them down to the lower bracket. Lower bracket round 1 was Rooster and Pain and 00 Nation Greyhound. If I had told you that the Australians, of which there are 2 teams, got 1 win, honestly, I probably would have been a little surprised.
Greyhound have shown like life at these sort of events, and against 00 Nation with a stand-in, I was like, yeah, fair enough. 00 Nation with a stand-in, they're going to be terrible. So like, that's fine. And then 00 Nation with a stand-in went to qualified anyway. So I've got no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, so Pain
they're all bad. All of these teams are awful.
Pain made a nice little lower bracket run here, beating Rooster, beating OG 2-1. And we got to talk about OG in a minute, and then beating Greyhound in the lower finals.
You can't even be impressed by Pain though.
No,
okay, yeah, they made a nice lower bracket run. They beat Rooster, Greyhound, and like OG, who seem to beat themselves over and over again. Like, okay, yeah, the win over OG is impressive, but OG lost to fucking everyone.
Yep. So then Greyhound made themselves a nice little lower bracket run here, beating 00 Nation and more importantly, NIP.
Yeah. Again, though, 2 teams who don't really have their full roster. That's why this group kind of sucks, because there's so many asterisks and caveats, and you can't actually be impressed by any team who makes an upset run, unfortunately. Which is a shame, because beating NIP is such a massive result for Greyhound. And I feel bad having to sort of like dampen it a little bit, but they then lost to 00 Nation and went out, so I don't actually feel that bad.
Yeah. So ended up being that the 4 teams going through here were FaZe, Vitality, Pain, and 00 Nation. This group was a clusterfuck.
00 Nation beat NIP 2-1 in the 4th place decider.
Yeah.
NIP lost to Greyhound and 00 Nation. 00 Nation without their in-game leader. Please tell me more about how great an in-game leader Alexi B is.
This group will have an asterisk on it. We said it before when we previewed this group that this group was the group of stand-ins. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams here with stand-ins. 4 teams with stand-ins. 2 teams with full rosters and 2 teams from Oceania. And I really did. It sounds like we're denigrating Oceania teams, but they're not at the same level as the rest of the teams here on a generalized basis.
Well, they kind of are, but only because the rest of the teams are just bad.
The rest of the teams are all stand-ins.
Yeah, they're all stand-ins and bad.
So
like, they're mediocre when they have their full rosters. Certainly OG are.
Yeah. So let's talk about OG for a second. You or someone that you know wrote a article in TLDR's newsletter.
It was Harry. Harry's a big OG hater. I was actually quite high on OG, but like then they lost their in-game leader, and it's just like I just don't care anymore. Like I just don't want to watch half a team play. It's fucking frustrating.
Yeah. So do you have any specifics you want to get into with OG? I know they look just off the bat. I'll say they look kind of lost without Nexa playing right now.
Yeah. So to steal off Harry, who watches more OG than I do, his main gripe with them is that he thinks Flames is their best player, and Neofrag is the guy who baits the hell out of Flames instead of the other way around. Neofrag is a great player against bad teams, but just doesn't frag against good teams. Whereas Flames could kind of duke it out with better teams. And I think generally when they win, Flames has like really high impact rounds. There was a map they won, I think against NIP on Overpass, where they just like they were down and Flames had like 5 multi-kills on the CT side in important rounds, like gun rounds, and they won because of it. And it's like, yeah, he kind of has a point. Neofrag looks like a star player on Sinners, and he just doesn't look like that on OG. Dexter is very resource heavy, but we know what he can do. The issue with Dexter really is he doesn't get that many opening picks. It's not necessarily an issue, but it is a style thing, and it can become difficult when you're in a bit of a rut.
I don't know.
And Nico's learning to in-game lead, so like, fine.
Yeah. Did we ever figure out? This is gonna sound super like I'm not paying attention, but I swear I am. Is Nico fully in for Nexa, or is that like a change, or is this just temporary?
It's like it's an indefinite but temporary, I think.
Okay. Because
temporarily indefinite or indefinitely temporary is probably more accurate.
I see. I don't want to spend any more time on this group because this group sucked.
Yeah.
I want to spend time on a fun group because there's 2 North American teams. There's Rare Atom and there's Forza in this group, which just makes it so much better than the last group.
Yeah. Well, this team has 3 top, like, genuinely good teams with their full rosters in Na'Vi, Spirit, and Liquid. Say what you want about any of them. They're genuinely good. They're better than NOP.
I'd say 4. Chuck Ensign there. Depending on the day of the week, man, Chuck Ensign there.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my point. It depends on the day of the week.
Depends on the day of the week. But you know what? Okay, so 3.5. Either way.
Yeah. Fine. We can have Ents. You can maybe have Astralis if you're a real device fanboy.
No, fuck Astralis.
Harry, again, was trying to tell me, I think yesterday, that Astralis are a tier 1 team and I need to grow up if I disagree. They're currently getting battered by Spirit as we record this.
Yeah.
At ATK, I think recently have changed a player, so I'm not really expecting lots from them.
Well, they've changed a player, but they're all familiar.
Actually, they've got Cachanito. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, never mind. ATK are interesting. No, ATK are fun. Cachanito is a gamer.
Yeah, they took Fady out for temporary.
Yeah, I got no. Okay, this team's actually worth watching. ATK versus Ents is actually worth watching. But Cachanito is fun. He's a fun player.
The thing you're thinking of, though, is they removed Motum for DJ about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of. Because I actually quite rate Motum, but I think he had some out-of-server clashes.
Yeah, but I do really like DJ, though.
I don't think I've ever seen him play, but...
Nice guy.
Cachanito is fun. He's actually worth watching. Liquid and Rare Atom is a banging game. Liquid will win, but I always enjoy watching Rare Atom. Jam Young is one of my favorite players to watch. He's really, really intelligent. Rare Atom are one of them. Like, they combine the sort of chaos of Tai Lu with a more European calling style, but they still thrive in chaos because Jam Young and Mercury, and even to some extent Mosaic and Kaza, are just mechanically very, very good, and they have played against Tai Lu enough that chaos is in their blood. Yeah.
I want to zoom out for a second here. Teams that are in Group D: Team Liquid, Rare Atom, ATK, Ents, Spirit, Astralis, Forza. If we were doing our predictions, top 4 in some generalized order is Liquid, Spirit, Na'Vi. Top 3, and then Astralis, probably. So it gets a little iffy after the top 3.
It should be Na'Vi and Liquid as the top 2. They're on opposite sides of the bracket as well, so that should be pretty easy. Okay. It should be Spirit as the 3rd best team. And then I would say Ents are better than Astralis, but I can definitely see a world where Astralis are better than Ents.
Yeah, but the thing is once you get past those 3 teams, it gets a little funky and weird and interesting, right? Because Rare Atom always has this we're gonna fucking run at you and win kind of vibe.
Well, Rare Atom they can play at this level on a man-to-man basis. Advent isn't a terrible in-game leader. Like, he does build teams who have some sort of, they have a plan, they have ideas what to do. Like, they're not Tai Lu. It's a lot smarter than Tai Lu.
Yeah.
ATK have Cachanito, who is such a wild card. And they actually could do something. And 4s are always scary.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look particularly scary right now against Na'Vi, but, it's a team with Jerry. I don't think we need to say much more. If you're a long-time listener to the pod, you know how much we rate Jerry.
I've never seen Result play, but I've seen the others play, and they're all very solid players. There's no reason Fours couldn't be the fourth best team in this group.
And Navi, in a first match kind of thing, I know that they're losing right now, but Navi has looked a little vulnerable recently.
Definitely.
That might help the Spirits, the Forzas, anyone that plays them in this bracket.
That's what I like about this group, though, is that there are 3 genuinely good teams, 2 teams who should be the next 2 in line, but they're all very beatable. Liquid are beatable. Navi are beatable. Spirit are beatable. Ensign Astralis are most certainly beatable if you're ATK, Rare Atom, or Fours. There's no easy games in this group.
They all have glaring character flaws. Like if you're watching a show or something like that, like you're building your character, so he's a fucking strongman, but he's also a fucking idiot, right? You're like, you can go and say, this team has all of these great things, but they have the worst behold on Ancient, known to humankind. And
there's a lot of hard shells, but also a lot of soft bellies in this group. That's how I'd describe it.
So this group, I know I like ranking wise, it should be Liquid Navi. But on the other hand, if you told me it was End Spirit finals, I could see that. If you there's a lot of weird shit in here that
I could see Ents being Liquid and Spirit being Navi. It's not completely Liquid are beatable, man. And
every team here is beatable
at the moment. Yeah, every team's beatable and every team can win in any game, I feel like. But
this is
unfortunately it doesn't end like that very often, and it will probably be boring.
Yeah, but this should be the closest group that we've had in all
four of the groups.
It
should be the best one to watch. All of these teams are good and fun to watch.
Which is good because, and I want to bring this to a different place for a second, because we're entering our 4th fucking week of this.
Yeah. I will say there's only one team with a stand-in here, and it's a stand-in that's actually better than the player he's standing in for, which is ATK having Cashinito. Again, if you're going to do stand-ins in a tournament, do it like this. Get a player who's better than the guy who's standing in for. That's great. Makes me want to watch you more.
I mean, here's the thing, is that we've talked to Spray before. He's a pretty smart guy. ATK know that if they want to win anything here, they're going to need to thrive in chaos. They're not going to win in the default war. They're not going to win in pure aim-to-aim duel. They're just not as good as the other teams here. So they're going to need to thrive in chaos. They're going to need to play like Rare Atom is going to need, plays. How they thrive in organized chaos.
Yeah.
And so saying, fuck it, we don't need the most tactical brain known to humankind. He doesn't need to know all our strats. Just, he's got to aim.
If you've got one guy who is mechanically very good but doesn't play with you very often, you can set him up in a way where he doesn't need to know everything. He can just be the guy who goes in second or third, doesn't need to know anything that isn't just Molly connector on the run. That's fine. It doesn't need to be particularly intense, and you just sort of let him show off in this team because Cashinito, he is talented. He can play.
Yeah, they're Forz, Rare Atom, and ATK all have the same win condition, which is just thrive in chaos.
Yeah,
they're going to make.
I think Forz's win condition is actually to be stricter than everyone else because, as we said, Navi,
they're mini
Liquid,
outsiders. I forgot.
Certainly, Navi and Liquid have structural quirks, let's say, where you can punish them if you play very well. And I think that's one thing Jerry does do is he does build teams who play by the book. And I think as long as you don't make too many mistakes, you can actually make their lives very difficult. If Force came up against Liquid in the lower bracket, would you as a Liquid fan be comfortable saying Liquid are going to win?
Nope. I'm sorry. You
well, Liquid fans are never comfortable, of course.
Yeah, but... I was gonna say you mistake me for ever being comfortable with Liquid winning.
Yeah, true. No, fair point.
If you told me today I'm playing EG, I wouldn't be comfortable that we're winning.
I don't know. Maybe that one I'd be a bit more okay, yeah.
I'd be a little bit more comfortable, but
Nafly would just wait until 1 minute, and then he'd probably just kill 4 people every round. That's what he normally does.
All right. But yeah, this group should be fun.
Yeah, this is the best. If you haven't watched much Pro League, I recommend watching this group because this should be great.
Farlig's been on in the background for the majority of my of my last couple of weeks, and I've not paid a huge amount of like direct attention. This group will have attention paid to it.
Yeah, this one should be good. This one should be good fun.
Every game is worth playing. It is just worth watching, if that makes sense.
I hope so. Anyway, maybe it'll be a massive letdown, but
yeah,
it feels like it should be good.
Yeah, we're like, this week was weird.
There wasn't loads happening this week. I think because of the fact that we're 4 weeks into Pro League and nobody's making changes at the moment.
Yeah,
the major's coming up, so nobody wants to make big moves. Like, everything's slowed down. It's Source 2's coming out as well, supposedly. So there's loads going on at the moment.
There is we'll talk about this for a second. There's like an actual chance that Source 2 comes out like after this podcast comes out, like before this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
Because there was a graph somewhere, and we're getting into high speculation talk here, and I have a question for you after. Which is like Counter-Strike updates drop on Tuesdays second most often and Wednesdays most often, or something like that.
What are you doing Wednesday, etc.?
Yeah, well, it's not. No, I'm not even talking about the fucking Counter-Strike tweet with that. I'm just.
Yeah, I know, but
if you look at Steam Database, which, by the way, the guy who runs Steam Database is an absolute god. He got like DDoS last night by so many people looking. Absolute Giga Chad. So there's a non-zero possibility comes out tonight. There's a couple of steps that have to happen before, which is a DPR, which stands for something. I don't remember what it stands for, but basically that has to go out before the actual update can go out. Panorama DPR went out on like 4 days. Yeah, so Panorama DPR was out 5 days before the actual update came out.
I remember when everyone went crazy about the Panorama thing, which made next to no difference. That was good.
Yeah. What the fuck is it? DPR. It's the final stages of an update before release.
Right.
And that's what they're doing right now. So, it should come out. The question I have for you is, I actually was watching some ESL content the other day, where Anders walked around the studio analyst table desk thing and basically asked everyone, what would you like to see in Source 2?
Yeah.
So I would like to pose this question to you, because I thought there were some good answers in there.
I'd like to see the Krieg rebuffed.
Okay.
And Inferno removed.
That could definitely get behind the Inferno remove bit.
Yeah.
I thought Machine said something that was really intelligent. Which was, regardless of tick rate and everything, however they do it, I want to be able to watch a pro match, see a pro throw a smoke, and then be able to hop into matchmaking and do that.
Yeah. Which
I know it's basis of a tick rate thing, but however they solve it, whether it's tick rate or tick list or however they're looking at it, the ability that I can watch the highest level of play and then go do that in the game, I like that should be what this was from. That should be what Counter-Strike Esports is from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
In the
which is weird, because they're always like, oh no, like I don't agree with coach. Like they hate coaches because you don't have a coach in matchmaking, supposedly. But like, matchmaking isn't the same because the tick rate is different, and that does make a difference. They haven't made matchmaking the same. There's no overtime. Like, matchmaking is fundamentally different anyway. So surely, if you want to make it more similar to the pro game, which is what they've said in the past, like, why would you not do that?
I'm a huge proponent of esports as a vehicle for advertising, as it has been for years and years and years. And not only advertising for sponsors, but advertising for the game itself, right? People watch Counter-Strike and then they want to play more Counter-Strike, and then they spend money on skins and cases, etc. It's the same thing with every esport in the world, right? It's a moneymaker for the company, generally. Or it can be a moneymaker for the company. So I don't understand.
Right, games did with League, right?
Yeah. But for me, it's like, I've never understood why we have a totally different ecosystem between our normal person who watches a game, who watches Stralis Liquid 4 years ago, right, in 2018, and then goes and tries and recreate what Twist does, and you can't, not because you're not skilled enough, but because
I'm not skilled enough for what it's worth.
Well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, neither of us are. But like when I chuck a smoke, it lands wrong. Or when I throw a molly on overpass, it's not the same. Like,
it is. It is odd.
That's my big gripe. I think Machine was right with that.
I agree.
Okay, I'm glad we all agree. And on that sheer disappointment, we're gonna get going for this week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at ReadTLDR, at Logan Aizyesque, and at Aizyesque. We'll be back again next week where we'll be talking about EPL playoffs and maybe a guest.
Maybe. We'll see.
No, actually, we'll have a guest.
We will.
Yeah, I'm just not going to say who it is yet.
Okay. It'd be a surprise to us as well as you, like you guys.
It's one of two. All right, we'll see y'all.